Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel on a special little bit of an early edition of the show. Normally, the show is at 8:30 in the morning on Pacific Standard Time. Today, it's at 8 a.m. in the morning because I have a screening of Jurassic World I got to get to, so I had to start a little bit earlier. Listen, a few things to talk about. We got a Legally Blonde 3, it looks like it's coming. Could the next Bond villain lead be a female lead for the first time ever? That'll be interesting to see. We've got Lego movie stuff we've got to talk about tag, but before we get to all that, let's go right off the top with this, a brand new first trailer for the upcoming Bumblebee movie. Hit online a little bit earlier, giving us our first look at the characters. We saw John Cena in there. We got our first look at Bumblebee, who's clearly the same Bumblebee, but just in a little bit of a different form. Love the fact that he's the classic VW bug. I mean, we heard he was going to be that in this movie. And of course, the time period of this movie, that makes sense. But it's still really cool to see Bumblebee in the VW form. And look, it looked pretty cool. A lot of people also asking, is the jet fighter that we see in the trailer, is that Starscream? The answer to that is 99% yes. Now, there are 3 Decepticons in the G1 toy line that all look exactly the same. There's Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, right? And the funny thing, even as a kid, I knew these are the exact same toy, just with different colors on them. Like, they save themselves so much money just printing the same toy, just manufacturing the same toy. Then, oh yeah, on these ones, put red on them. On these ones, put blue. You know, they just change the color of them. But that one was the color of red, which is traditionally the Starscream color. So I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that that is Starscream in it. So that was really neat to see that they're going to have him in there as well. I got to admit, I'm not overwhelmed with the trailer. Like, I'm not super wowed by it. But it's a good trailer. And remember, it's a first trailer. So we don't expect as much from a first trailer as we do from a second or third. But I thought it was pretty solid. And you know, I have been modestly looking forward to this movie ever since they announced that the director of Kubo and the Two Strings was going to be directing this film. That got me excited. So that's got me a little bit interested on board. And I think this is probably going to be the final Transformers film in this universe of Transformers. I think Paramount and Hasbro are going to be rebooting this thing. I'm not saying that as a fact. I'm just saying that's my speculation at that point. But yeah, in general, a pretty solid little trailer, to be honest. I kind of liked it. Now, speaking of trailers that just dropped, the Lego 2 trailer called Lego 2, The Second Piece, has just dropped. And I liked it a lot as well. I thought it looked pretty cool. Number one, the whole notion that their world has become like this desolate Mad Max wasteland after the events of, which day? What was the day they called it in Lego? I can't remember. The special day. That after the events that actually sent their world into ruin, now this alien presence comes, all this kind of stuff. It looked charming. It looked fun. The Emmett character is so delightful and smile-inducing. I just loved it. I think it looks really great. Now, not the best trailer I've seen this year, but a really solid, I think it's actually a better trailer than the Bumblebee trailer. And I like the Bumblebee trailer, but I think this Lego 2 trailer is actually a pretty solid trailer. Now, you're going to see in the movie news feed in a second that we talk about the Lego 2 poster, because the poster dropped right before the trailer dropped. So in the movie news feed, we talk about the poster. So you'll get a chuckle out of that. But also, like, speaking of trailer day, like we've had the Bumblebee trailer, we got the Lego 2 trailer. Though also, we're going to talk in a second in the movie news feed about the Widows trailer. It's like a trailer kind of a day. It's great. All right. Now, last thing I want to talk about here off the top, I had a chance to go see the movie Tag last night. Now, I have been really interested in this film. Number one, because it's a really cool looking cast. Number two, I thought the trailers looked pretty good. But the main reason I've been looking forward to this movie is because the whole premise of it. I love the idea. It's based on a true story. It's not fact for fact a true story, but it's based on a true story about a bunch of guys who played an ongoing, like, 28-year game of tag. But anyway, this movie, you've got this group of friends who have been playing the same game of tag in the month of May for 30 years, and they all live in different cities, and they've done it continuously as a way to make sure they stay in each other's lives. And you guys know, to me, the best stuff in movies is stuff that touches on extreme examples of friendship. And So I went to go see this movie last night. There is a review embargo on it, so I cannot give a straight up review. However, they did encourage us at this screening I was at to tweet out our thoughts about the movie. Tweet them out. So while there's still a review embargo for another week and a half or so, I'm just going to share with you what I tweeted to give you my basic general first reaction, okay? Here's what I tweeted about the Tag movie last night. I tweeted, "Tag is funny, heartfelt, and charmingly irreverent. It made me want to call and touch base with my friends. It doesn't give more than you were expecting, but it does deliver on what it promised to be. Looking forward to watching it again." So just one more time. Tag is a funny, heartfelt, and charmingly irreverent movie. It made me want to call and touch base with my friends. It doesn't give more than what you were expecting, but it does deliver on what it promised to be. Looking forward to watching it again. I was absolutely, as you can see in this Twitter feed, I was charmed. I was really charmed by this thing. I had a very good time watching it. It's not a perfect film, but it's so solid. It delivers on what it promised. Now, I can't go into any more than that because then I'm getting into review territory, but I just wanted to share my social media thoughts on what I thought of the Tag movie. And I'm really excited for you guys to see it and for you guys to share your thoughts as well. Okay, with all that off the top stuff out of the way, let's get into today's movie news feed. First up, director Steve McQueen's last directed feature film, 12 Years a Slave, won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. It's been nearly 5 years since that film came out, and now the trailer for his next film, Widows, is here, and it looks fantastic. Widows is co-written by McQueen himself and Gone Girl's author Gillian Flynn and stars Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, and Cynthia Erivo as 4 women who decide to finish the heist that killed their 4 husbands. Rounding out the stellar cast is Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, and Daniel Kaluuya. Widows is scheduled to hit theaters on November 16th. When you're talking about a director like Steve McQueen, this is going to be his only 4th film, but look at his track record. He did Hunger, which was great. He did Shame, which was amazing. He did 12 Years a Slave, which was amazing, and won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And now the trailer to this thing looks incredible. Like, on top of the fact that you're working an angle of an intense underground crime drama, and then you pile on top of that the fact that it looks like it's going to have an exciting heist element to it. Then on top of that, you add this incredible cast with a really cool premise of these 4 just widows, hence the title of the movie, of this heist group, and now they're just taking over for their husbands at that point. It's just so, it feels very original. It feels very fresh. And coming from a director like Steve McQueen, who has given us nothing but excellent crap up to this point, there's simply nothing not to be excited about. Oh, and yeah, by the way, the trailer's really great too. I love this thing. I cannot wait to watch it. Next up, Reese Witherspoon, the producers, and the writers from the original Legally Blonde movie, which came out 17 years ago, are currently in negotiations with MGM for a Legally Blonde 3. Legally Blonde 2 came out back in 2003, and to be honest, I never really thought we'd see a part 3. However, as Deadline puts it, the film has been a staple for young female audiences who've rediscovered it on DVD or through the hit stage musical that continues to tour to this day. The original grossed $141 million worldwide on an $18 million budget, and the sequel brought in $124 million on a $45 million budget. The report says that Legally Blonde 3 will be much in the spirit of the first film, in which Woods' character's idealism and pink-dominant wardrobe prevailed over the cynicism and snootiness all around her after the freshly dumped former sorority sister heads to law school. The intention is to make this more about female empowerment, a message that hits a fortuitous time in the culture. The feeling is to draw back in the audience that grew up with the original film while also appealing to a brand new global audience. Look, I gotta tell you, when I heard that they were doing this, I was surprised, but the more you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Look, that first Legally Blonde film, like, I know a lot of women in my life who love that movie. I mean, not quite on the same scale as some other big ones at the time, like Mean Girls, not quite as quoted as much as Mean Girls or other films like that. But there's a lot of people I know, a lot of women particularly, that love this film and has like a really strong following. Now, the second film, I think I only saw it once, and I don't think I liked it very much. I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember a thing about it, but the first one was pretty damn good. But what was in those reports talking about this being a fortuitous time to jump on these themes of women empowerment and things like that, and with the stage play going on, going back to Legally Blonde actually is a pretty good idea. Now, look, if you can make this thing for a reasonable budget, I think that's what MGM is trying to feel out right now. Can we get Reese Witherspoon back on board? Can we get the original behind-the-scenes people back on board and make this thing for a reasonable budget? Because if you can do this thing for a reasonable budget, I think you've got all the pieces in place for a real modest little hit if they can hit the right notes. Now, of course, it'll all come down to can they make a good movie or not? That's always the big question. But you put that aside for a second, this actually seems like a pretty good idea. It'll be interesting to see what direction they go. Next up, from what I thought was a terrible idea and turned out to be my favorite animated film of 2014, the Lego Movie made almost $470 million at the worldwide box office when it came out. We've known for some time that a sequel was in the works, and now we're getting our first look at the new poster. From coming soon, animation veteran Mike Mitchell will direct the Lego Movie sequel. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who wrote and directed the first Lego Movie, wrote the first draft for the sequel script and will serve as the producers, along with returning producers Dan Lin and Roy Lee. The Lego Movie 2, the second part, is currently scheduled to hit theaters on February 8th, 2019. And first, can I just say that the Lego Movie 2, the second part, is a great title. I'm completely on board with it. And look, you guys have heard me, if you've watched me for any period of time, you have heard me gush on and on about how much I love the Lego Movie. The fact that the Lego Movie did not even get nominated when a lot of us thought it was a shoo-in to win Best Animated Feature, it didn't even get nominated for Best Animated Feature, stands as one of the biggest snubs in Oscar history, in my opinion. And you know, it's one of these great examples, too, that I'm always talking about, that any premise can make a good movie. I mean, for God's sakes, if you can take a premise about plastic building blocks and make an amazing feature film like the original Lego Movie, then almost anything can do it if you get the right execution. Okay, now let's talk about the second part here. First of all, the poster's great. It seems to kind of suggest that there's going to be an alien involvement. They come in pieces. Get the double. Anyway, yeah, it's really clever. The poster's good. The poster's fine. The real message of the poster is to show us the characters from the first film. So, like, I know a lot of movies are coming out with the name Lego, but look, this is the true Lego sequel. There's Emmett. There's Wild Side. You got everybody coming back. There's Batman. So it gets us all on board. It's nice to see the poster. I'm getting excited about seeing the sequel. Let's hope that without Lord Miller directing it, that it can still carry on and be at least as close to as good as the first one. And finally, in recent weeks, we've gotten confirmation about who will be writing, directing, and starring in the upcoming new Bond film, which will see Daniel Craig return for the 5th time as 007. Now, there is a new rumor circulating that the producers of the film are looking at possibly having a female main villain in the new film, something that the Bond franchise has never really had before. From Cinema Blend, Helena Bonham Carter is at the top of the list of candidates the studio is considering, and Angelina Jolie, who is currently shooting Maleficent 2, as a possible baddie. Bond 25 is currently set to go into production in early 2019 with a November 8th, 2019 release date in the United States. It is weird to think that going into the 25th Bond film, that they have never had a main female villain. The main villains, now we've had female villains, but they've always kind of been secondary villains or the henchmen to the main villain, right? Out of 24 films, we've never had a female as the main big bad guy. That's kind of surprising when you think about it, but it seems like the time is right for something like that. The fact that they've never done it before, it is about time that they do it. Helena Bonham Carter would be fantastic. Angelina Jolie would also be fantastic. There's probably about 15 other names that would be totally fantastic in this role too. Now, the reports are very strict on pointing out that this is a rumor. This is coming from some questionable sources, but it does make a lot of sense when you look at it. First of all, the fact that they have never had a main female baddie. Number two, an actress like Helena Bonham Carter would be perfect for something like this. Can she be kind of play something maniacal and kind of really evil and over the top? Well, just look at her work in Harry Potter, for heaven's sakes. And Angelina Jolie can do, well, absolutely anything. She's just that level of an actress. She's a multiple Academy Award winning actress. But anyway, all that aside, It would be great to have a female lead villain. Either of these actresses would be great. Or, as I said, there's like 15 others you could put in there. Whatever way they decide to go with it, I'm sure it's going to be good. Look, Danny Boyle's directing this thing. Daniel Craig, who's my all-time favorite Bond, is coming back again. So they're already got some strong footing underneath them. Let's see where they go with the villain. And that'll do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed. And now you are all caught up to date on all the stuff going on in movies. I told you it was kind of funny me talking about the Lego poster after already talking about the trailer. Anyway, guys, hey, listen. Now we have a couple of, this is normally the part of the show where we go to the viewer emails that you guys email in. And by the way, you guys can email, because almost every day on the show, the main topics of the show are the topics that you guys submit. How do you submit a topic or a question for the John Campea Show? It's simply you email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com. Once again, that's john@thejohncampeashow.com. Put the word topic in the subject line and keep your emails to 90 words or less. However, I am going to skip those emails today. Don't worry, I'm going to take those emails that we were going to use on today's show and use them tomorrow. So the emails that we had selected out and that you probably see in the description, we're going to use those for tomorrow. I want to take a few minutes before we get to our live viewer questions to talk about something here. And I just want to talk seriously for a second, all right? There is obviously a lot of stuff going on in the Star Wars fan community. Today, the next chapter kind of took place where this incredibly sweet, wonderful girl, Kelly Marie Tran, finally got, and if you guys have ever read some of the stuff on her social media that people post on her social media, we'll get to that in a second. But this incredibly wonderful, charming, optimistic, like bright side of life looking girl just decided she had to delete her Instagram account, or take it down at least at any rate, because it simply became too much, the amount of racist and sexist stuff that was getting thrown at her. And she just couldn't take it anymore. And I've read, and I'm sure a bunch of you have read a lot of the stuff that was on her page before, and it was just gruesome. Just, it makes you lose faith in humanity kind of stuff. This made me want to I have something I want to say here. In talking about the current toxic nature of the Star Wars fandom, one of the things, you guys are probably sick of hearing me say it, but it's important to say, is that, the majority of the people out there who didn't like Last Jedi and who don't like the direction that Star Wars is going right now, the majority of those people, I say that for all the right reasons, because the movies and the direction the movies are going does not work for them. That's why the majority of them who don't like it, just because the movies don't work for them. And the direction, they don't like the direction things are going. And there is nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. That's movies. That's the subjectivity of movies. However, while that is the majority, there is within that group another segment that is this incredibly vile, racist, sexist, homophobic subgroup within that group. Now, here's the thing. This is the part that's always frustrated me. Is that whenever I personally, or I see other people bringing that up, it's like, hey guys, there's a lot of racist and sexist stuff out there. There are people who want to jump down your throat and go, stop pretending like there's racist and sexist stuff. Nobody doesn't like the movies because of racist or sexist reasons. But that is bullshit. All right? This isn't subjective. This isn't up for debate. This notion that whenever somebody tries to bring up, to shine a light on this real toxic movement that leverages racism and sexism and homophobia, and whenever somebody tries to bring that to light and shine a light on that, whenever I see people then try to jump on that and say, there's no such thing. Guys, I'm serious. Like, I put up this video the other day where, for my own well thought out reasons, I think Kathleen Kennedy needs to step down from Lucasfilm. For a lot of different reasons what other people want her to step down for, but I believe that. But one of the things I say is like, hey, the majority of people who don't like Star Wars right now and who want Kathleen Kennedy, the majority of them want for the right reasons. However, there are some people who don't want because they don't want women, they don't want black people, they don't want any sense of anything other than straight heterosexual people. And the amount of comments I got from people saying, there's no such thing. There's nobody who dislikes the Star Wars movies because of racism and sexism. I can't even begin to describe how far in the sand you have to stick your head to actually say that. That's simply not true. Nor is it true the way that some people try to lump anybody who doesn't like The Last Jedi in with those sexist and racist. That's not true either. That shouldn't happen. That's wrong. That should not happen. But the fact of the matter is that this group of sexist, racist, homophobes exist. They're real. And while you may not want to be identified with them, guess what? They identify themselves with you. You know, when you go on things like Wikipedia and you see a big group of fans get on Wikipedia and change the Wikipedia of Kelly Maree's character and they change her name to Ching Chong Wing Tong. When I get on Facebook and I'm constantly seeing things like people shouting down at Lucasfilm saying, you alienated the traditional straight white male conservative audience, aka me and people like me in the end. And all I can do is giggle because you guys are not privy to see all the comments in my held for review list that YouTube holds for reviews. Because, YouTube is set up to automatically hold for review things with racist, sexist, whatever. Guys, the amount of comments of, I don't want no fudge packer in my Star Wars movie. I don't want no N-words, N-word this, N-word that, N-word this. Who needs some stupid bitch C-word this, C-word that, all this kind of stuff. It just makes me, when I read that stuff and then I see other people saying, there's no such thing as sexism and racism in the Star Wars fan community that doesn't happen to like The Last Jedi. Yes, there is. Yeah, there is. And guess what? By denying they're there, you are becoming part of the problem. Look, I always stand up and say, we cannot lump in the people who just don't like The Last Jedi because of the movie for subjective reasons. We can't lump those people in with those sexist, racist, cousin-humping, nut-sucking, mother-ass-lickers. We can't lump those people in with those people because that's not fair. That's not right. Subjectivity of film, we can like or dislike whatever. And these people, the right-thinking people, are the majority. The people who don't like The Last Jedi for their own proper reasons. They are the majority. But to deny and pretend like this racist, sexist, homophobic virus that, again, you may not want to identify with, but they are identifying themselves with you, to deny it makes you part of the problem. And to the point that we're getting all this stuff, and now some nice sweet girl's got to take down her entire social media channel because, oh my God, the shit that was in there. Oh my God, the shit that my YouTube thing catches every single frickin' day. It's enough to make you give up on humanity. So, here, I want to issue a challenge today. Today, I want to issue a challenge. I want to challenge all the bloggers out there and all the YouTube channels out there that spend their time denouncing Star Wars and spend their time denouncing the direction of Star Wars, which is cool because if it's for subjective reasons, because you don't like the movies and you don't like the direction they're going, nothing wrong with that. That's great. But here's my challenge. My challenge to all those YouTubers and all those bloggers out there, write a post, or I'm challenging you to put up a video to denounce. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't make it about something else. I want to challenge you to put up a video to denounce those people who are wrongly identifying themselves with you. Like I said, you may not want to identify with them, but they're identifying themselves with you. I challenge those YouTube channels, those blogs, those whatever, those pundits to put out something to strictly denounce any form of sexism, racism, and homophobia in the discussion about Star Wars. Let's have some nice discussion about Star Wars. I want to challenge these YouTube channels and bloggers to axe out those cousin-humping, mother-ass-licking losers. All right? Disassociate yourselves from them. Separate yourselves from them. Make a video that says, hey, you guys know that we here at this blog or this channel or whatever, we are not happy with the direction that Star Wars is going, and we've expressed that, and we think we have valid reasons for doing so. However, We in no way, shape, or form want to be associated with these cretins out there who are using sexism, racism, and every form of hate that you can imagine. We just want to say that stuff has no place in Star Wars fandom. Whether you like The Last Jedi, don't like The Last Jedi, like the direction things are going, or don't like the direction it's going in. We want to say, don't you dare associate yourselves with us. You have nothing to do with us. We are not you. We don't like the direction for the right reasons. We are not associated with your sexism and your racism and your hate. I want to challenge, I want to see if these YouTube channels and these bloggers have the testicular fortitude to actually step up and make a video like that. Step up and say, hey, we don't like the direction Star Wars is going in because we're Star Wars fans. We want nothing to do with you cousin humpers that are throwing out all this racism and sexism and homophobia. Stop with the denials. Stop denying that it's a very real thing, because it's everywhere. You can see it everywhere, and it's manifesting itself all the time. You are the majority, so take control, take charge, do something about this. It's your turn to speak out. So I just want to see if any of these channels, like I said, have the testicular fortitude. Because look, it's every bit as wrong. Don't anybody who likes The Last Jedi and who likes the direction Star Wars is going, make no mistake, it's equally as wrong for anybody to lump in the people who dislike it for the right reasons in with the people who dislike it for the wrong reasons. We shouldn't do that. But it's equally as naive and wrong to just pretend that these cancerous tumors are running around and that they don't exist. It's just as wrong to pretend they don't exist. So again, I want to challenge my fellow online pundits, the ones who are not happy with the direction that Star Wars is going in. For just like I wasn't happy the direction Star Wars is going in when the prequels came out. For all those pundits who don't like the direction Star Wars is going in, don't like the movies, I am challenging you to disavow those guys. You're the majority. Don't let these other cretins associate themselves with you. Don't let them identify themselves with you, because that's what they're doing. Make a video. Don't sugarcoat it. Say, hey, we have a problem with the direction Star Wars is going in from a creative and storytelling point of view, but there are a bunch of people out there who are trying to piggyback on who are trying to ride my coattails, but doing it to hide their sexist, racist, whatever agenda. And I'm just here to say that I am not a part of that at all. Get out of here with that. We want Star Wars fans who want to improve Star Wars. We don't want Star Wars fans in here about racism and sexism and all that kind of bullcrap. I challenge my fellow film pundits out there who just happen to be on the side of the tracks that they don't like where the directions the film's going, and call those people out. It's up to you. Call those people out. I want to see what happens. And I think you can probably do more good than I can, or than anybody else who can, because you're on that side of the track. I think you have the power to do more about something like this than people like I do who do like the movies. You're in a better position than I am. So I'd like to see, instead of spending your time denying that the problem exists, I'd love to see you guys actually address the problem. And let's see where that goes. Anyway, guys, I just got a few minutes left. Sorry, when I saw the Kelly Marie Tran thing, and because I had read a bunch of the stuff that was posted on her, and this bunch of stuff on the John Boyega thing, and all the stuff that was on Around 2 Minutes, and the stuff that comes in on my own page as well, I just had to say something. I know you guys, there's a lot of people who don't like hearing me talk about this, but I just can't not talk about it. But anyway. Let's go to some live questions. Like I said, I got to cut it short today because I got to get to that Jurassic World screening. But let's do this. First question today comes to us from Zombatron5678, writes, as a Transformers fan, I'm so pumped. I loved it. Yeah, I liked it too. But you know me, I drink the Kool-Aid every time a new Transformers trailer comes out, right? Okay, I've hated the last 4, but this trailer looks great. Gulp, and I drink the Kool-Aid on it, right? And I totally buy into it. So I'm going to keep my enthusiasm a little bit reserved here. Recruise writes, G1 vibes, John. Do you think the other Transformers in the trailer is Starscream like everyone is saying? 99% sure it is. It's even the right color to be Starscream. So like I said before, yeah, I think it's a 99%. There's always a little possibility they're going to say it's somebody new, which is fine, but I think it's probably 99% chance that it is Starscream. Patrick Conway writes, thoughts on the leaked Avengers 4 art? I don't believe it's real. I think it's fan-made. Ben Hayusa writes, how's it going, John? The Bumblebee trailer now has me on board for a Transformers movie. I'll see this one first before Aquaman. Seen Deadpool 2 4 times, by the way. I think I'm still a little bit more interested in Aquaman than I am about... well, I mean, obviously, I I really haven't liked the last 3 or 4 Transformers movies. I have liked the last number of DC movies. So I think I'm still more anticipating Aquaman than I am Bumblebee. But hey, credit where it's due. The Bumblebee trailer was solid. It's a solid trailer. And I think there's going to be a lot of people like you, Ben, that this trailer will get them on board. I think this will bring a lot of people on board. Curtis Lopez writes, if there's a Disney in the Wreck-It Ralph, does that mean there's a Wreck-It Ralph movie in that world? They kind of hinted at the end of the trailer. No, don't look at it as any kind of continuity. Wreck-It Ralph is a fun spoof kind of movie. It is not meant to be canon or anything like that. So I wouldn't look, Curtis, beyond, just the silly nature of a silly, fun little offshoot film. I wouldn't look for any deeper meaning other than that into Wreck-It Ralph. Curtis Lopez writes, what's your favorite Muppet / Sesame Street puppet? Oh, easy. The Count. The Count. I've wanted somebody to do an adult version, whereas one day the Count just realizes, you know what? This Cookie Monster idiot stealing my cookies all the time. I got this big bird coming and going whenever he wants. But you know what? Damn it, I'm a vampire. I'm going to rip all these people to shreds. I think you could make an awesome horror spoof movie of what happens when the Count goes bad. I think that would be kind of awesome. Spencer Smothers writes, what are your thoughts on the White Boy Rick trailer? That's the Matthew McConaughey one, and I haven't watched it yet. There have been like 4 trailers drop in the last 24 hours. And in the midst of trying to do all my other stuff, I just never got around to watching that one yet. So I haven't seen it yet. I will. I'll probably talk about it on tomorrow's show. Brad Timms writes, what are some movies with mind-blowing twists without saying what the twists are? Someone ruined the ending of The Sixth Sense for me. Well, you got Citizen Kane. You've got Usual Suspects. You've got, obviously, Sixth Sense. You've got... Well, some of the other Shamhammer films try to have these big, amazing twists at the end. Not so much. It's not something I can offer really easily off the top of my head, Brad. I'd have to think about it a little bit. But give me, those are the ones that come off the top of my head. Again, I'd have to think about it for a while to come up with a real list. Andy A. Hernandez writes, whatever happened to the Aragon sequel? The first movie bombed. That's what happened to it. The first movie bombed, so they didn't do the second one. Just that simple. Jordy54 writes, why is 900 million being quoted as Solo break-even? Nobody legitimate is quoting 900 million as Solo. Anybody who's quoting 900 million as Solo's break-even point is an idiot. That's not the break-even point for Solo. It's closer to 650 million, which it will not get to, by the way. It's going to lose money. This movie's going to lose money. Let's see, just time for a couple more, and then I got to run out the door and go to that Jurassic World screening, guys. By the way, my review for Jurassic World will be up later today. Muse Tack Reviews writes, you pumped for Cloak and Dagger tomorrow? Not really. Not really. I'm going to check it out. I will check it out. But honestly, the trailers haven't done anything for me. But I'm going to give it a shot. And hey, then again, Black Lightning's trailers did nothing for me either. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, damn, this is pretty good. So let's see what happens with Cloak and Dagger. Last question today, guys. And then the rest of you guys who sent in live questions, don't worry. I'm going to add them to the companion video. I've got a companion video coming out tomorrow morning. So any questions you guys sent in live that I don't get around to here, they will be in tomorrow morning's companion video. So the last question right now comes us from, saw the trailers and reviews for Upgrade, and I'm pumped to see it. Only problem is it's not being released anywhere in Canada. WTF, yeah, it's not getting a super wide release. I wouldn't doubt if it plays in Canada at some point or somewhere, or maybe it is playing in Canada somewhere and just not in your neighborhood. I'm not sure. But it is a small film with a very small release. So it'll be out. If it's not going to play in a movie theater near you anytime soon, you'll just have to wait 3 months and watch it on home video. But yeah, everything I'm hearing about it, again, I'm hoping that either tomorrow or Thursday I'll get a chance to finally go out and see it. But I'm hearing nothing but good things about it, I should say. So it's all looking pretty good so far. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, I got to run out of here, guys. I got to go run to that screening. I will put up my review for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a little bit later today, after I go and actually watch the damn thing. So thanks so much for joining me here today, guys. My name's John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.